live now. I guess you're not live. Huh? My Instagram live. Hi. I feel like I can't hear you. There you go.
Can you see me?
You look so refreshed.
I just took a shower for you.
You just you look like you're glowing.
Oh, good. That's good. I'm trying to
Yeah, how you
position
doing?
my camera, so bear with me here a minute.
Do not say anything about cameras. Your camera should be like on point.
Oh, I'm using my phone.
How are you doing? What have you been doing since COVID started?
I'm just taking it one day at a time, like getting things together on the back end, doing work on the back end. But for the most part,
Okay.
just
Have
relaxing.
you been working from home?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
So how's everything going?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Everything. You got me all shaking. This is my first live ever.
You okay? I feel like you're constantly doing something. So,
It looks like it, but yeah.
well, um, am I scared? I'm not, because I'm just drinking water. So, but I feel like since it's a conversation, it should be like, just two friends talking.
Yeah,
So
sure,
it should be
sure.
easy. Yeah. So I think one of the reasons why I started, first of all, my name is Fumi,
Mhm.
and this is Mac. Like, how long have we known each other? Since
Couple years,
last year,
yeah.
April.
Maybe like
But it
two
feels
years
like I've
ago.
known you for a long time because every time we see each other, it's like back to where we
Yeah,
started. Yeah.
yeah.
So my name is Fumi, and this is Mac, everybody.
Hi,
Mac is one
everybody.
of my friends. We work together. I'm not going to mention your brand unless you want me to, but I'll
Oh,
give you a shout
sure,
out.
sure. Go ahead, go ahead.
So Mac, oh no, introduce yourself. I don't want to mention
So
you.
my name is Mac. My brother and I own and operate Junkyard Cinema. We're a video production
Yep,
company out of Philadelphia.
yep, that's the name.
Yep, yep.
If you don't, you have to tell them what you do. If you don't know who Junkyard is, do you want to say it?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to toot our own horn, so I'll just say we're a really, really, really good video production company. We specialize in African weddings, so you can check us out on Instagram and see some of our work. Yeah.
So I have a funny story, right?
Mhm.
So I think Junkyard is one of the first people that I know that started drone.
Oh, oh,
So
okay,
when I
okay.
when I when I when I hear junkyard, that's the first thing. That's my connection because I remember when drones first started, like it was one of the people. So when I first met him, I was thinking it's like an older person because it's been around for a while. So yeah, so that's the junkyard team. Like if you're in the wedding business, they're the people to call.
Yep,
So I'm so
definitely.
glad to have you
Yeah,
here.
definitely. I'm glad you
And
thought about me. I feel special.
oh, of course. So I started this conversation with my sisters last week. I feel like as African we have to say more.
Right.
We have to do more. And I feel like we're not saying enough. And that's why I wanted to talk to so many people from different parts of Africa that are living here, because I always feel like though we have similar stories, but our realities are different. So I'm Nigerian and you're from Liberia. Can you please tell me a little bit? So when I was growing up, I have aunties that are from Liberia. So, but I don't know anything about it. I don't know the food. What is Liberia known for? The popular food. Do not say jollof rice.
Well, we are known for cooking the best jollof since we but
Do
we're
not
not we're
start
not
this
gonna go into
argument
that
right
all
now.
of there. I mean, but cassava leaf, potato greens, palm butter, like those are some like tobagi, those are like some of the staple dishes
Okay.
from the country. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. You have to cook some for me one of these
Oh,
days
definitely.
when COVID is over,
Yeah.
because I'm realizing that Liberians eat cassava leaves, and I can't understand how,
Oh, it's really
but I
good.
need to taste it. I need to taste it to see it. Maybe that would be because I don't eat meat much. Like I've been eating meat here and there since COVID, but I'm trying to kind of fade away from it. So I think I'm kind of tired of the same vegetables. So I need something new.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely, definitely.
I guess my first, we have some people joining us. Hi, everybody. So
Hello.
today we are going to be having conversation. It's not an interview, it's a conversation about our experience as foreigners living in the United States. So my first question to you is, when people hear your name or hear or see you, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Yeah, good question. I think for me though, my name is like always the biggest thing. So my full name is McLeod. But coming
Okay.
here, it's like, what's your name? I'm like McLeod, and everyone butchers it, you know? So through school, through college, sometimes they would even call me by my last name. I mean, for the longest time, they were saying McLeod, McLeod, McLeod. And I just kind of stuck with it because I was like so tired of
Mhm.
correcting people. Like even to this day,
Okay.
people can't pronounce it correctly. So like a couple of years ago, I'm like, you know what? Let's just cut it short. Let's just call it Mac, you know, because I was transforming. I felt like, you know, I could relate to Mac more. So then everybody just started calling me Mac. So it was,
Nah.
yeah, it was easier. But definitely when people hear my name, they want to know where I'm from. I
Uh-huh.
think physical wise, I look like an African. So I don't think that's like a hard
Yeah.
guess. So most people guess African, but they're not sure exactly
Okay.
what country. But
What
for the
part?
most part, yeah.
Okay. What was the last time you were in Liberia?
December 2019. So I was just there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How was that? Did you go for the return, or you just went for
A
vacation,
little bit
right?
of everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So your parents are here or back home?
So my mother's here, my father's there.
Okay.
Yeah, I have family
Okay.
here, like half and half.
Okay. So that's good. And so I guess my next question now is, what do you identify with? Like, do you think you're an American or Liberian American, or you never thought about it?
I mean, I always consider myself an African, a Liberian. Um,
Yeah.
I am an American citizen, so I guess the proper term would be Liberian American. But a
I
Liberian.
wish that was an option
Yeah.
that we can check in the box. Like, what are you? I wish that's part of the option that they give us when we are checking the boxes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
So, yeah.
Liberian, or but on paper, African American or black.
So, what do you feel about what is going on in general? Like, in terms of, I don't want to go directly into the um Black Lives Matters movement. I think right before we start, I was talking and I was going on, and I was saying that I feel like our parents or the elders, our aunties and uncles, as much as they would like to understand this whole Black Lives movement, it's not because they don't understand it, it's because their history is what they know,
Right.
which is from back home, wherever you're from, and they have not been able to comprehend what is going on. It's not because they don't want to. So when they turn on the CNN, they only listen to the current news. So I guess, so my next question is that, what is your feeling about this whole movement that is going on in general? Like, how do you feel about
Um, well, I'm totally passionate about it. You know, I get it.
it?
I've always gotten it since I've been here. So it's not anything that is new to me.
Okay.
If anything, now I'm at the point where, because I understand so much more, my advocacy is in a different way, you know? But,
Okay.
you know, I get it. I feel like there's a need for it. I understand
Mhm.
the protesters on the street. I understand the looting, the burning down, all of those stuff. I get it. You know, I get
Okay.
it. I feel like it's long overdue, you know? So I feel like people are
Mhm.
frustrated, people are tired. Um, but I feel like as a Liberian
Mhm.
living here, you know, a lot of us really seem to like kind of detach ourselves from like the average
Mhm.
African American struggle. So
Okay.
sometimes I find myself arguing with my fellow Liberians about, you know, like things like that. But
Yeah, that's why we're having this conversation because I feel like we have to start saying it more in our communities, you know.
definitely, because I think the disconnect is on both ends. Like the
Yeah,
Africans on the continent, they were fed different stories compared to the
mm-hmm.
Africans here, the African Americans
Yeah,
here. So it's like it's two people that live and grew up in separate parts of the world. They're the same, but because of their experiences, think differently towards each other. It's like at the end of the day, we're all the same because we're judged
yeah,
by our color, not if we're Liberian or Nigerian. It's like, if the white man sees you, they're looking at a black man. They don't care.
yeah.
You're
My
black
sister
first.
said the same thing last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
definitely.
black first. Yeah. So, and I think that's my struggle also because at least for my parents, like I think now because they have us, they get it
Right.
more than when they first came. So, what was your experience like? Did you go to high school here?
I did. So I came
How
I
was
came
what's
here
your
towards the
experience?
end of the seventh grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So I've had enough experiences.
Can you give us can you give us a quick story, like a funny story?
um so
Any traumatizing experience?
so okay, I'll say this and then I'll give a quick little funny story. But pretty much the story kind of sums me up a bit too. So I came towards the end of seventh grade, we jumped into school. My mother put us in
Okay.
an all white school because a lot of African parents think sending your black
Yeah.
kids to white school is like good for them because they don't want you to be like the black American. So
Yeah.
I mean, for me it's easy. It wasn't that bad because I adapt easily, and I think that I make friends easily. So like people never
Yes,
bullied
you
me
do.
because if you try to bully me, be ready because I'm coming back. So I remember this girl in like seventh grade when I first came. So I'm like, I still have my accent. I'm in school, white girl. So she's just like, saying crazy things, asking me dumb questions, picking on me and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm not the one. Don't do that. So
I'm ready.
I tell the teacher, and they just kind of brush it off. But at this point, I don't understand the context of systemic racism, institutional racism, and all of that stuff. I'm just thinking, okay, someone's bothering me. I'm telling someone.
Mhm.
But then every time I say something, like they don't do anything. So I never forget. We're in the line for the bathroom. She comes up and she's saying, Lord knows what the heck she's saying. And I'm like, not today. So, boom, I gave it to her.
Did you get suspended?
Well, I did get suspended. Now, after I reacted, it's like everybody wants to come and say something. But I tell you what, no one ever, ever, ever made any type of smart remark or anything after that because they knew,
Hmm.
like, this wasn't the one to mess with. So I think for the most part, that has been my experience. If anything,
Yeah.
if anything, I was considered like, oh, the cool African. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I wouldn't say, I mean, I've had things, the African booty scratcher, go back to your country, little things like that. But for the most part, I wouldn't say my experience in school was like horrible and like, because I just never took it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess compared to me, I don't remember my high school days because it was horrible. Like I was saying last week that, yeah, so my cousin said I was quite timid when I first got here. We were all,
Yeah,
I feel like coming from Nigeria or coming from wherever, they tell you be good.
it's nerve wracking.
Don't and I hate myself for saying this. Like they say, make sure you stick with the white
Right.
crowd. Make sure you understand, which is what. And I think like when our parents or our aunties or wherever that you came to join to come here, they kind of make you go in that direction. And then we get to our 30s, and then we're like, oh my God, Black Lives Matters, or why am I not doing enough, or racism does exist. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Just be glad you have work. Just be grateful that, because when we think about where we come from, we're like, oh, we can't say anything. We're just glad that we're here. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why we don't react as much as we should because of where we come from, because we are grateful to be in this wonderful land of opportunity. So, and I think that's why, like, for me, I feel like my sisters really opened my eyes in my 30s, in my early 30s, because I can see their experience. Even if when somebody talks to me, I might not see it, but when the little one reacts, like, did you see that? Did you see how she talked to you? Or when they, the funny thing is that when they see my skin color, some of them want to touch me to see that I'm real.
Right,
So that's the other thing, like, oh my God, like you're so dark. I'm like, what do you want me to
right,
do?
right.
You understand? So I think that's the other thing for me also. So I feel like now more than ever, I have to say something, even if I'm timid, because I feel like if you come here, because I came here old as a teenager, so I've already experienced everything. So even if you're timid, you have to say something. You have to make sure you don't like don't say anything when somebody says something uncomfortable next to you. Don't smile about it. Don't brush it up. Or when maybe you're at work and you have, the W people saying something like, oh, just say something. That's my thing. Like, say something. Don't just brush it off like it's nothing. Because if you don't say something, they'll continue to say it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, not only do you have to say something, but you also have to be open-minded, you
Yeah.
know? Like I said, we're all the same. So for me, like Black Lives Matter isn't just 2020. It's always been that
Yeah.
way. And I feel like being that I understood the African Americans from a younger age, I feel like the Africans kind of like alienated me a bit too. They're like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
want to act too Black American and all that stuff." So, I felt like they didn't understand it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just glad that people are waking up now. But I also think that African Americans, we both should be educating ourselves about each other so we
Hmm.
can understand,
Yeah.
like I hear a lot of African Americans say, oh, the Africans think they're better than us. And some of them that have visited the continent, they were like, when we
Yeah.
got there, they were like, oh, them. So, I get it.
We act like they are different, like
Right.
it's two different people in one part.
Right.
It's
It's
not. It's
not.
the same people.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think we should just work towards understanding each other's struggle rather than judging and saying, oh, the Black Americans don't want to do anything. They're just lazy. We really have to understand the
Yeah.
things that have put these people in these predicaments, compared to us coming here. Because I feel like if it weren't for all of the struggles the African Americans here went through, us Africans coming in wouldn't have some of the luxuries that we have
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Even the fact that we're able to speak up for
Right.
ourselves, I think the strength and being bold. And I feel like also when people, so I have a question for you. So when people see you or hear you talk, do they think you are arrogant? Do they take your confidence as, oof, like,
Yeah. Um,
really?
sometimes, but I think I've grown past that. Now I don't budge because I'm just like, this is what it is. I know how to be polite, to be respectful, and all of that stuff. So if I'm
Yeah.
doing all of these things and you still have a problem with it, then that's your problem, not necessarily
Yeah.
mine. Yeah, but sometimes people feel that way. People feel like because you're knowledgeable about certain things or you're confident about certain things or you've achieved certain status, they kind of like think that you automatically
Yeah.
assume that you're better than them, but not necessarily.
I know. So I guess what you're saying is that we have to educate ourselves more. And I think not just us, I think our parents need to be educated also and learn the history and not what is being shown on
Right,
TV. Because when you go by what's being shown on TV, you kind of get mad and you're like,
right.
oh, where are you? They call me, are you okay? You decide like stay home, don't. But I think like our parents, our aunties, uncles, elders, they need to be educated on the American history, like you're here now, especially if you've been here for 40 years.
Definitely,
You should know the backstory. You should recognize the pain. You should understand the struggle because if they didn't get that freedom, we would not be here, like you said.
definitely.
If they didn't fight for us. So how do you feel about colorism being from Liberia? Because I feel like, so when I see Africans, if I meet you for the first time, I feel like we can kind of
Right,
figure out where we
right,
come from because
definitely.
it's like, so what does colorism mean to you?
I mean, I think colorism is a huge thing,
Hmm.
especially I think on both ends, African Americans and Africans, but I'll speak from an African standpoint. I think it's a huge thing. The skin bleaching and all of that stuff, because the notion that
Hmm.
the closer you are to the image of the white man, then the better
Mhm.
you are, you know? So I've definitely gotten, oh, Mac, you know, you could use this to like, they
Oh
call it
Lord.
cleanse your skin. I'm like, well, what the heck am I cleansing on my dark skin? You know, like I'm not trying to be light skinned, you know? So
Yeah,
yeah, I've
it
definitely
sounds
gotten that.
good.
Especially growing up, it's like, oh, you could just use this, clear up this dark spot, dark spot. But I mean, you can also drink water and eat right and have clear, dark skin, you know? So I think the colorism
Mhm.
thing is a huge, huge issue. You know, you have people saying, oh, I prefer, or I wouldn't date a dark girl, or the dark girl automatically feels like the lighter girl thinks she's better, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
not necessarily the case. And then sometimes the lighter girl, you know, she has this Jezebel syndrome. She thinks
Mhm.
she's God's gift to the world because of her
Yeah.
complexion, you know. So I think the colorism thing is a huge problem, and we can see it with the skin bleaching stuff. So you know, but for me,
Yeah.
yeah, I think for me, my father did a good job at making me understand where I was from and appreciating myself. So the need to like bleach my skin never, you know, never came to me. Like even my mom
It's
would
so
say sometimes,
grateful. Yeah.
yeah, she would say, "Get the kids out of the sun. You guys should get out of the sun. You're gonna get so black." And I'm like, "We're already black."
And I always say things, and this is sidetracking. I always feel like the best thing a parent can do to a child is just instill that confidence. You know, I feel like
Definitely.
as parents, if you can put that in your children, you know, whatever they choose to do to their skin, at least they will know they've tried everything else. Did you see that documentary on Netflix called Skin? It's
Briefly,
by Beverly Nanya
yeah,
or
I
something like
started it briefly. I have to finish it with Bobrisky on there and all that stuff. Yeah.
that. You need to watch it because what he said is actually
Right, right.
true. Like I don't have that much time to dedicate to like putting all that stuff in my body. That's a job on its own. So when it is actually a good documentary, I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm glad like I feel like the last 3 or 4 years being dark skinned is the new thing. So
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know how long that phase will last for, or you know, or how long we have it will go away. But I just think like as an adult, like we have as parents, we have to do a better job to you know instill that in our children, that you know make them feel the best that they can. So I guess my
yeah,
next
definitely.
question is in terms of the overall journey since you've been here, you know, because I always say like this is home for us. Do you think United States is your home?
Well, no,
Like, I mean,
no, definitely
okay.
not. I think home for me. I mean, I've made a home here, but I think home for
Mm-hmm.
me is definitely on the African continent. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Well, that's
consider.
understandable.
Say that again.
That's
Yeah.
understandable.
So I mean, here is home by default, but when I think about home, I don't think here. Yeah.
Okay. So do you feel like with that said, do you think going forward, like in terms of this Black Lives Matters as African, what do you think? I know we spoke about it earlier. How can we educate ourselves in terms of where do we start? Like somebody that just got here yesterday, how do they run away from the issue, or what is the first thing to do in terms of if you just got here a year ago, yesterday, 5 years ago? Like how can we start to address that? Okay, I'm here in this country now. I can't, I'm Black. So how do I fit in? And I feel like as Africans also, we've managed to be good. So we always manage to, and I hate myself for saying this, manage to stay out of trouble. We always walk that perfect line. We don't want to, we
Not
don't,
necessarily.
not necessarily, but we've been, I feel like because like, and that's what it all goes back to education, how we were raised, why are African Americans, why are we this way, why Africa is this way. So I think like now more than ever, I feel like I need to, and that's what I'm doing is I feel like I need to educate myself to learn about other cultures and then to also learn, embrace African American community because I feel like I haven't done that type of work also where I can say, okay, what is my role in the African American community. So how do we go forward and how do we do better, you know?
I mean, I don't think, or I don't know how, or like a first step, but I think that even as an African coming from Africa, coming here, you being in Africa, you understand.
MCI said the system is racist.
Yeah, the
And
system, right? The system is racist.
I feel
So
like I feel like I can feel a heat from from the screen. That's Doi M. Sarah. She said the system is
no,
racist. And my cousin said even with education, there's so many gaps and missing pieces.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So like even as an African coming here, you understand what's going on to some point because you experience
Hmm.
racism in your country too, discrimination. It's like
Hmm.
a lot of Africans think because we're in Africa, this has nothing to do with us. But you have the white man over there taking over, and it's like our land,
Hmm.
So it's like you understand something ain't right coming here. So I think
Hmm.
coming here, you just have to kind of like be around your own people and stop
Yeah.
with saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go over here to try to put on this look or try to fit into a certain group," because at the end of the day, they won't understand you. The understanding is
Yeah.
going to come from your own kind. So I would
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
coming here, just try to be around other black folk, be into
Yeah.
black
Learn.
things. Yeah, be
Learn.
open. Don't be looking at the black Americans like, oh, because
Yeah.
they live in this
Troublemakers.
neighborhood,
Those
they're
are
not good, or
the
they don't have a college degree. Just be open and be understanding because we both have issues on both ends. And I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of Africans come here and learn the hard way, and they only start to open up when like racism hits them smack in the face. Now it's like
Yeah, when it's too late, and then who backs you
right,
up then?
exactly.
It's
It's
these
like we're the
people that
same
you
ones
don't
coming
know
out screaming
nothing
Black
about.
Lives Matter for you.
Yeah, yeah. Those and that's the other thing that I was saying, that even if we are good career wise, financially, and everything, one of my thing is like I will always go back to my community and do better, and teach and educate, plant that seed there, because no matter what, at the end of the day, I'm black.
Right.
So even if you move out of that craziness, you still have to come back, because what if your children's children decide to go back in that community and live there, but you left it as bad as it was when you were there. So I think that's the thing for me, that when we get here, we make money, we move out right away, and we don't look
But
back.
even
You
even
understand?
even with moving out, it's like you work hard. I see a lot of Africans that work 82 hours a day, and I'm like, it's only 40 hours in a day. It's like you overwork, and then they're like, oh, the people at my job love me. I'm like, yeah, because they're slaving you. You're not saying anything. You're thinking they like you. Like, ask them to pay you
You have
more
to work
and see how much
smart.
they really like you. But then it's like you
Yeah,
work hard, you move out of the community, and you go move with a bunch of white folks, and you're the only black man there. It's like that is not an achievement, because now they're calling
yeah.
the cops on you. You can't even park in your own driveway. Your kids are going to
You're
the
never.
school. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like, is that really an achievement at the end of the day? Like, move to say, oh, I'm the only black person in this white neighborhood.
yeah.
The Jewish, the Indians, all of them have their communities that they stay in. you know,
No, except for you, you're the only
we're the only ones
one.
that run away. It's like, lady, sir, come back to
Yeah.
your people, be humble, and do the work there, because no matter what you do, you're never going to be accepted in this other space.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And the other thing that I do think we have to do a better job in doing is supporting ourselves, in
Definitely.
terms of, I was saying to one of my friends that I will never understand how come we don't own apartment complex. Like, I don't understand how come we live in there, or we don't own
Well,
condos and
so
things like that.
that kind of goes back to the systemic oppression
Yeah,
again too, because it's easier for a white person to go and get a loan compared to a black person. So it's like all these underlying issues that you can't see with your bare
yeah,
eyes.
they
So you're
do
just
well to
looking
do
at
in our
it one
community.
sided. You think life is one big joke until you try to go make some major moves, and then you see all the roadblocks that are in place
And
just
then we
because you're a
moved
black
there.
man.
We moved there instead of us to create our own system.
Right.
We're always so ready to move, or to, even when I remember, I worked with M. Sarah, I think was it last year, and the racism was so in our face. Like the only thing they didn't call us was the N-word.
But for me,
But guess
you
what?
know how I am on the job. Like I lay them out. Like, lady, don't come over here asking me anything. Like, I run the show, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't use us bad. We had to like take him out because it was that bad. It was ready to fight, ready to start a fight. So my thing is that we also as Africans, as much as we come here, we want to go that clean road. I think we also have to invest. We have to create our own community. We have to not we have to leave something for our children's children. You understand? We have to build wealth. We have to build venues that and our own people also, I feel like we don't support each other much. We are always ready to hire the next person
Yeah,
that don't look like
definitely,
us,
definitely. You know, I feel like
you know.
sometimes when the Africans people when they say the clean road is
Yeah.
like, how close to being white are you? Then it's considered clean, you know? It's like, how close are you to for the white man to be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're perfect, you know? So it's like you defend yourself, you speak up, then it's like, oh, this person is automatically aggressive,
Yeah. And I
you
want
know?
discount.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I want discount. Like when you hear a price that somebody else will charge and you hear the price you're giving them, they want to knock it all the way to the bottom. So I feel like even in our community, we are in the African American community, we have to support ourselves more. We have to, auntie, one of my cousins
the
just said,
discount.
auntie, can I have a family discount? You know, venues. I just feel like we need to start something. We need to have our own community, our colored community. And when I say colored, I'm not just saying like African community. I'm saying like us colored people all together. We shouldn't be like, oh, that venue is
Well, for
only
me,
for,
I think also though, I mean, I get it. Every colored person, you know, we're all oppressed in some form. But I
yeah.
think for Black folks that we have to focus on us first before we can
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, because I feel like every time we speak about race, the Black person always has to be the person saying, oh, you know, just because I said Black Lives Matter, I don't mean the white. Like, we don't have to explain all of that
It's
stuff,
like you have
you
to give
know?
excuse.
Right. It's
So
like,
my life, I matter right now.
right.
I have a quick story. So 2 weeks ago, I was working, right? I was taking a long walk and I saw a cop. He just parked, and immediately I saw him. I was just stretching my hand, see
Like,
my
no
hands.
weapons.
I'm not holding anything. So even when you don't think, it's like the anxiety that comes from when you see a cop drive by you or pull over is the anxiety. So I get it when a black person says, can my life be like on the front end right now and not make it about yours? Can
Right.
I have the
Right.
attention, please? And don't be the person in front of the classroom as usual waving for help. So it's understandable. And I feel like even us as a society, we have to continue this work. There can be a pause.
Yeah. And I
Mm.
think I think the high tolerance that Black folks have for white businesses and white people in general, we need to extend some of that tolerance to us. You know,
Us.
it's like you go to a Black business, you have one bad incident, and the incident might be lateness. You know,
Yeah.
okay, nobody wants to be late, but communicate it. If you're telling me you went to a
Yeah.
Black business, you expressed dissatisfaction, and then the owner didn't do anything, then that's a different story. But you can't just
Hmm.
walk in a business and then, oh, the person was a couple minutes late, and then all of a sudden, I hate Black businesses. But then you go to the white business, they don't even say hi to you. You're there
Yeah.
sitting there. I mean, your tolerance is so high for their nonsense, but then when you come to a Black business, you're
Yeah.
ready to
Yeah,
put the
we're very
hammer and put
critical
them
of
under
the
the
stuff.
jail.
Yeah, we're ready to. So what you're saying is that if you go to a business and there's a problem, address the problem, make sure the problem is fixed. Don't just ready to run because if you don't fix that problem, what if they don't know how to fix the problem? Maybe they don't
Definitely.
see it as a thing. It's just like we always say Africans are always late.
Definitely.
You understand? We always say Africans are always late. I don't think we're always late. I think we
Well,
just
some
don't
some
respect
some
time.
Africans are late, but that's like
So you
some of
understand?
anything, you know, some of anything. So, for instance, today the person is not watching this live, so I could tell the story. But a friend of mine is getting some work done, and she asked for an invoice. So the
Okay.
person doing the work sent her an email, and she's like, "Mac, this is not an invoice." And so I'm like, "Okay." I own a business, so I understand. When you're certain things you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, certain things you learn, and as you learn, you change. So I said, rather than coming down on him and saying, oh, which she wasn't saying, we were just trying to figure out a way
Mm-hmm.
to let him know, like, hey, if you're running this legit business and you want people to take you seriously, then you have to have certain things in place. So I'm like, rather than being all frustrated, we just we sent him a link to the app that does the automatic
Mm-hmm.
invoicing. Like, hey, can you use this app to just send me a proper invoicing? Rather
Yeah.
than going back and forth. And he was
Share your
receptive.
knowledge.
He was like,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. But like, I see some black folks, and trust me, they're ready to hammer the poor black
Yeah, but
business. I mean, hammer
even
the
what they
business.
will not do for the white
Right.
businesses, they are ready to just drop the towel and go hard, and then they will back mouth you. My thing is like if you have a problem with the way the service is being done, share your knowledge, share your information. You know, encouragement is is very important. I feel like we're ready to just drop ourselves and go to the next
Yeah,
person.
definitely.
So yeah, so educating ourselves is very important in this world today. I feel like in this day and age, we should know what's going on.
Yeah.
We should be aware of what's going on.
Definitely. And and be patient with each other, because I mean
Hmm.
everything that's going on now, the hostility, the energy, because I find myself being on the defense. If I'm like, so I'm just ready to spring into
Always
action.
ready. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like,
So
but I make it a conscious effort to be patient with my fellow Negroes,
mhm,
whether it's friends, business, whatever. Let's find a
mhm.
solution. Now, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. Everybody is not going to want that option.
yeah.
That's different. But for the most
Uh-huh.
part, if I go to a business, if they're late, I understand. I try to look at the business. Hey, is this a new business? Is this, I try to understand what's going
Hmm.
on rather than saying, oh, let me drag this business because
Yeah.
they did X, Y, and Z wrong. I've had
Hmm.
many horrible experiences in white business, Indian businesses, and
Anything. Yeah.
I don't understand. I'm like, people talk only bad about black businesses. I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Poor
Let
customer
me tell you
service is
something.
across the board, regardless of race
Yeah.
whatsoever. But we just have a high tolerance for other people's bad behavior.
And we don't say
Right,
nothing. We don't say nothing. We just like, I'm not going back there.
right,
I'm not going back there. That's it.
right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, my next question to you now is, I want us to talk a little bit more about mental health without going too deep. How do you feel about mental health in our community in general? Do you think we do a good job addressing it enough? I feel like we have to kind of be talking about it even more now, especially in our community. I feel like we don't talk enough about it. We just say, oh,
We
it is what
pray
it is.
about it. We say, "Oh, go pray about it." It's like, no, you
What
cannot
what
pray
what
that
do what do
pedophile
you
out of that
feel?
man, lady. Call the cops on him.
What are your? Do you think as African we need to? I also feel like we need to do a better job with mental health. We
Yeah,
don't talk about it. We
definitely.
pray about it, which is fine. You can pray, but you also have to acknowledge it, encourage it, and I feel like if we can do that, it will be a lot better in terms of how we deal with each other and also understanding other people's pain and struggle. You understand?
Yeah,
So,
I
what are
I
you
think
thinking?
mental health is very important. I think that everybody should find a therapist if they can. I think people should talk about things. I think mental disorders are a thing too, because sometimes a person might not be understanding something because they just don't have the mental capability to do so. And they probably haven't gone to the doctor, because I've seen a bunch of folks, even being an African, being here, and I'm like, that's a little bipolar, but I ain't the doctor, so I'm not going to diagnose you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, I think as a people, we tend to be too stoic to our detriment sometimes. It's like we
Mhm.
feel like we have to carry everything on our shoulder. We have to be so strong. You can't cry, you can't do this, you can't do that, when in reality we're all human beings. So I think that
Mhm.
mental health is huge, because I feel like we neglect it completely in our communities.
Yeah.
i've had
And it shows
I've had
it
people
shows
tell
up in
me,
different
you're thinking
areas.
about a therapist, that's wrong, they're going to mess you up even more, and all the extra stuff, but it's like,
Especially PTSD.
exactly.
I feel like we're all walking like
Bound
map
ready
of
to explode.
PTSD. Like we are all there. So I feel like, and that's one of the other things that I'm learning about in all areas, because I feel like as African, we are so afraid to even say the word, like, so I think, like if you feel like you need to get help communicating, talking, and I don't mean talking to your girlfriend,
Right, definitely.
talk to somebody that actually understand and can help. And I feel like even as a community, we need to support that and encourage that, because I can imagine telling my mom that I need to see a therapist. She
She's
will
gonna feel
she will be
like
like,
she
take your
failed as a
anointing oil
parent.
in Jesus' name. You will never ever have to. And I'm like, Ma, it's okay. I'm just talking to a therapist to help me analyze my thought and process it properly so that I'm not too overwhelmed. So it's good to talk to a licensed professional. Don't feel like you're alone. Don't feel like you have to deal with it alone. So, and I feel like more than ever during this period, I had to work on that also. I feel like I had to work on my mental health. I used to be like, make sure you take care of your neck down. Now I'm
Right.
like, make sure you take
Your
care
neck
of
up.
your um, so the next thing I want to talk to you about, I have two more questions before we finish. I think we're good with time. First, I want to talk about women.
Mhm.
Do you think women in general, do you think we support each other? Do you think we find each other intimidating?
Uh,
Do you think we encourage each other? Do you think we compete with each other? Do you think we are doing what we're supposed to do with each other and for each other? Especially us, like when you're going for interview or when you're in a small community and it's only one, like at my job, I'm the only black person. You understand? And that's scary. But I feel like if another black person comes, they might find it, you know, difficult. You understand? Which I'm welcoming. But do you think as women, are we supportive of each other enough? Can we do a better job? I feel like we can do a better job.
yeah.
I can do a better job,
Yeah,
you
I,
know?
I think, I mean, definitely we can all do a better job. I would say from my experience personally, I've been lucky enough to have or to come across people that have been really supportive, especially
Hmm.
women. But I definitely see, especially like in corporate America, the
Hmm.
the hate, for a lack of a better word, from other black women. But I feel like with women, a lot of our issues are just around men and superficial things. It's like, oh, she has a flatter stomach. She has nicer
I
skin.
know.
She dresses
Oh my
better. It's
Lord.
like,
Yeah.
don't be,
Is that hair nice? Is that skin nice?
yeah,
Oh my
for
Lord.
me, if I meet another woman that I think is like good looking, intelligent, my first instinct is, I want to be friends with her because whatever she's doing, she needs to teach me her ways. So
I
I
know.
don't tend to be intimidated, but I kind of get and I see a lot of other women are intimidated by that. um, I just think you just have to find your tribe, rather than trying to force someone or fight it. Just
Yeah.
find people that think like you do, and y'all just hang out
Yeah.
with each other.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for saying that. Thank you so much. I think for me is I've had the same friends for
right.
so long. And like I feel like I've managed to surround myself with the same people that can call me out of my bullshit and the same thing. And I think when I think of you, and I think the first time I met you, all I felt was your energy, your confidence.
Oh,
Don't
thank
flatter
you.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the same.
I
Maybe
try to
like
give out the
that,
good vibes.
that confidence that you carry. Like I don't care. Like I'm here and very authoritative. Like you have to hear me because I'm talking right now,
But
and
you
I
know
feel
what though?
like,
I feel like that has come over time. I feel like when I was younger, it was a lot of, oh, you're too aggressive. You're too strong. Tone it down a little bit. You're gonna scare the man away. You're gonna do that away. But luckily for me,
we have to talk about that. That's a story for another day. Like, oh, be nice, be
yeah,
gentle. You can't be too aggressive, and I'm like, that
yeah.
is like,
So I mean,
oh my
over
goodness.
time, and my mentor does a great job at talking to me about stuff like that. So I think I've really grown into like learning to accept me and try to understand me more and how I react to things and what make me react and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
just try to be open, and the more
Yeah,
I think the more I'm around other confident women, it helps me even more.
I love
Yeah, it
it.
helps me even more to be myself because I'm like, they're doing it. they're succeeding, they're fine. Why should I be
When
here?
you said don't tone it
Yeah,
down, like don't tone it down. You don't need to tone it
definitely.
down because I feel like there's a little girl watching.
Right.
You understand? There's a little boy watching. I feel like we are representation of what our children should see and see that mommy is confident, or our sisters or our cousins, or even anybody, a
Definitely.
stranger on the see you, and you never know who you're gonna trigger in that moment. So it's always good, and that's one of the things I appreciate about you. You're confident, you know
Okay.
who you are. Do you think you know who you are, or you are still on your way to becoming who you are? And how long did it take you, or it's taking you to get there, or are you in a rush?
Yeah. Well, I'm not in a rush, um, but I'm definitely still on my way. But I think I've come a long way. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm definitely over 50%. So I'm
Okay,
still,
perfect.
yeah, I'm still a work in progress, but I'm definitely not what I was before, you know? So I think
Okay.
there's always more work to do, you know? If you
Yeah,
think that you've done
definitely.
all the work, then, something might be going on there. But I think there's always room for improvement. And like I said, the more I meet people from different walks of life, I feel like
Hmm.
it stimulates something in me that brings out my authentic self even more, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's a work in progress. I don't think I figured it all out yet. No.
I know when I meet women and they just have not, like confidence is like, it doesn't matter whether you're wearing Gucci
Right,
or whatever.
right.
It's just, it's just a natural thing that comes, and you just look at it like, damn, who is she? Where did she come from? So I think we need to encourage each other. We need to
Definitely,
support each
definitely.
other. We need to build each other up, and I think we have to. It's also women's time now.
Right,
I think we have to really do a good job, in encouraging. And even for me, we're all working in progress. Like
definitely.
I know I have to do better. So I guess I have my younger sister watching right now, and if you can, or anybody else that will be seeing this video younger than us, what would you tell them
Um,
going forward, like how to manage being a woman and expectation and things like that?
yeah, I would say definitely like set some boundaries, you know,
Okay.
stand your ground. It's going to be lonely, it's going to be hard, but if something ain't right, honey, something ain't right. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to hang around for things to go yay wall before you see that there's something wrong. So just trust
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Learn to trust yourself more. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
feel lonely. It's gonna feel hard. It's gonna feel confusing. But just learn to trust yourself. Like
Yeah.
your instincts, the things that you believe in. Just stand your ground because, like I said, you don't want to do too much conforming because then you're going to end up somewhere where you don't belong, or you're going to end up in a mix of people that
Yeah.
you really can't relate to because you've been trying to do all this fitting in, but rather just
Mm-hmm.
focus on being the best you,
Yeah.
and then the right people will find themselves, they will find their way to you. So just trust yourself and stand your ground. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last question I'm gonna ask you is, what would you tell parents, African parents that are giving birth now? I'm not a parent yet. Like, what would you tell them about raising Black daughters, Black sons? Like, how can they start planting that seeds in them that, okay, you're Black, you are going to experience racism, especially for us. I feel like as Africans, we don't raise our children about,
Yeah.
you understand? They find out when they get to high school and somebody's making fun of their last name. So what can you tell, the new parents, upcoming parents, future parents, and how they can do a better job, in raising children of today, in
well
today's
well
society?
for my kids, so my daughter just turned 16 and my son,
Mhm.
he'll be 9 in August. But like I said, they've been woke since they were kids. I remember my son in
Oh my
like
God.
in the first grade, his elf for Christmas, he literally colored the elf in with a black marker.
Are you serious? Oh
Yeah,
my
it was like a
God.
black elf, and I'm like, I felt so proud when he came home with the black elf.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just try to teach them that there is such a thing as color. I don't teach them that oh, we don't see color. No, you do see color, you know? But even my daughter, for example, now that she's getting older, she's experiencing racism herself, whether it's from her teacher, you know, the other kids in
Uh,
school. But so they're aware. And every time they bring a complaint to me from school, I don't dismiss it. I send an email,
yeah,
and guess what? I want to have a talk with
it's
the
good.
principal and the teacher,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because these things, and especially, I feel like I was there not too long ago. So I remember my
Mm-hmm.
experiences from being there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I make sure that they know what's going on, like they're into the current events, but also I encourage
Mm-hmm.
them to not have this mentality that, and I let my daughter know, I say, you know, you're privileged, whether you want to believe it or not, you
Yeah,
are. So you can't be walking around acting like you're better than another girl
yeah.
because she
Something good
might live
too.
in a different school
Yeah,
district or anything. So if
yeah.
anything, I teach them to embrace blackness from all angles, you know. We
Yeah.
hang out in the hood, we hang out everywhere, you know. But
Everywhere.
I think for me, I just try to be myself because I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I had her so young. I'm like, I didn't know much when I had her, but I feel like based on
Mm-hmm.
how I live my life and the things that I do, she watches me. So rather than me telling her stuff, which I do tell her, but I feel like a lot of it comes from how I lead my life. So she
Yeah,
gets to see that,
yeah.
you know, like my son, he gets to see, you know, my mother wears her natural hair. I'm not like
Mm-hmm.
bleaching my skin and things like that. His
Yeah.
sister, you know, so it's like he's learning to appreciate a black
Mm-hmm.
woman rather than looking at his mama like, oh, my mama was always perming her hair, wearing a wig because she didn't like the
Yeah.
real hair, you know? So just little things like that. And, you know, as they grow
They pay
older,
attention to that. They see that.
yeah,
Kids see that.
yeah, as they get older, you know, the conversations change, especially for him because he's still a little younger. So a lot of it he doesn't get just yet, but he does understand that, you know, he's black and he will be looked at differently, you know?
Yep.
So even he comes to from
Very.
school, he tells me like their experiences, things he gets in trouble for that the other kids don't get in trouble for, you know? So,
Wow.
yeah, I just try to keep them aware and not try to sugarcoat things and say, oh,
Yeah.
I don't see no color. Life is one big joke because it's not, especially being in America, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we are learning now, like I'm learning now, and it's not gonna be easy, but we have to have that conversation. And I think the other thing is that even in our Black community, if you see that the school system is not good, don't try to go across the pond to a different system. Figure out what the problem is, address it for the community, address it for the future Black kids, address it for the future parents, so that everybody can go to a good school, not just running away from it. So I think we also have to do more in our community, also like go into the school system, see, let's not just go there to work, but see how we can make things better, you know.
Yeah, but
So
also,
there's
you know,
so in the
be in the community still because if we're getting money and we're leaving the communities, we're taking the money out of the community, the taxes that would go to the school and stuff like that. So if
yeah,
we're running to be the brightest Negro in white town, and it's like all of those resources you're taking from, you
yeah,
know, the schools where your people
yeah,
benefit from, you know?
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, I'm really are you don't feel nervous anymore. You see, I
Well,
think
my
this is
hands
a
are
great
under the table,
conversation.
so you can't see my shaking as my, you know. Yeah,
Okay,
not as
so I
much as
guess
before.
when we first started,
Much as before we started. When we first started, I was a little more nervous,
so
but now I'm like, I'm fine. Yeah. I want
okay,
to keep stressing
okay. I told you it'd be easy. So we have like 2 minutes left. Just tell me
me and just
what oh so just in a few minutes, what have you done different or something new? Have you done anything new during COVID? Like have you done anything out of the
uh,
ordinary that we
well,
need to know?
I can't say too much now, but definitely I've been working on the back end. So yeah, definitely, you know, working
Okay.
to grow the business, but not just grow it, but also understanding from a
Okay.
systemic standpoint the things that keep black businesses back. So making sure on the
Yeah.
back end we're set because I hear a lot of other businesses that they were like, oh, we didn't even get the loan and things like that, you know, because it's like just make sure all your business I's and T's are dotted and crossed, you know,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, you're going to face racism in that sense too, whether it's you needing
So
funding,
you have to be ready.
right, whether it's everything. So I've just been educating myself a lot on the back end of, you know, like a legit business and businesses that grow and are profitable. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
some other things on the side too that hopefully in August, I'll share some
Yeah,
good
I'm
news.
excited. I'm always excited in whatever you're doing. You're such an amazing.
Oh,
You're
thank
like
you.
Joey and I talk about you like you are gold. Like
No, I'm not.
when we share
I
this
tell
place.
everybody,
So,
listen, I'm a regular Negro and I got Negro
no,
tendencies, so don't.
you're carrying it well. You're doing a great
Thank
job.
you.
I mean, you're an amazing person. I don't even know you like that, but I feel like I know you
Yeah,
like that. You
even from
understand?
work, when we first met working, it's like,
I
okay, this is
know.
another Black girl. We connected, we're sharing
Yeah,
tips, like
yeah.
we're doing a
Mhm.
darn thing. And
I need to be that way.
yeah,
You
you've
should
been
be.
open, welcoming Sarah,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah, we
like
have
the
to look out
energy.
for each other. Yeah, we have to look out for each other. So thank you.
Oh,
We have
definitely.
to do this again. Are you
Yeah,
ready to?
definitely, definitely. This was my first
Yeah, because I
live.
want to talk. I want to talk about the women aspect. Maybe that will be our next conversation. I want to talk about women and how I feel like African women or African American, I feel like we need to really, really have a conversation about that. So I'm
Definitely.
looking forward to that. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No, no, no. I look forward to being a part of the conversation more because, like you said, we all have to do our part. So we all have to have
Yeah,
conversations like this.
yeah.
We all have to share the knowledge,
Hmm.
like we can all be successful with sharing.
Yes, yes.
So
Share,
yeah,
share. Don't hold on to everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, thanks for having me. Thanks for even
Thank
thinking
you,
of
thank
me, first of
you,
all.
thank you, Mark. Thank you so, 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 so very much. I hope you enjoy your long weekend
I am.
and just
I am.
enjoy the sun.
I'm kid
And I can't
free,
wait
so
to
I'm
see
chilling.
you. You're what?
I'm kid free, so I'm chilling.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect, perfect, perfect. So you are really chill.
Yes, really chilling.
Okay. I'll take this conversation off IG.
All right,
We'll
Fumi.
continue
Nice
over at
talking to you.
IG.
All
All
right,
right,
thanks
me as
everybody
well.
for
Take care.
watching.
Enjoy and be safe.
All right, bye
Bye.
bye.